Welcome back to another reading of fairy tales. Today we're going to be reading the story of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is a read-along classic fairy tale and has all the fairy tale characteristics we discussed. It has a once upon a time beginning, it has a royal character, a magical character or event that happens, and it has a happy ending. As I said, this story has royalty. Which one is the royal character? This is Beauty. Is she the royal character? This is Beast. Is he the royal character? On your paper right now, please pause this and answer the question number 1 on your sheet. Who is the royal character in the story Beauty and the Beast? Once upon a time, in a faraway country, there lived a merchant with his 3 daughters. The merchant was very rich. Indeed, he had more money than he needed, until a series of great misfortunes occurred. First, the merchant lost 2 of his biggest ships full of cargo in a great storm at sea. Then he was forced to give up his lavish home in the city because he could no longer afford to pay for it. The merchant lost his fortune and was left with nothing. He told his daughters that he would have to move to a little cottage in the woods, far from town, and work hard and live simply. The 2 daughters complained bitterly, for they had grown accustomed to a life of luxury. But the youngest daughter, who was called Beauty, always tried to make the best of things. Several months later, the merchant heard that one of his ships, which he had thought had been lost at sea, had in fact landed with the cargo of valuable goods to sell. As the merchant prepared to make the long trip to the city to claim his goods, he asked his daughters what he might bring them when he returned. The eldest daughter asked for a fancy gown. The second daughter asked for a diamond necklace. But Beauty, who had plenty of things she wished for, but not one that her father's money could buy, replied to be polite, "Please bring me a rose, for I have not seen one since we came here, and I love them so very much." When the merchant finally reached his ship, he found that most of the goods had been stolen. So he remained and made just enough money to buy a dress for his eldest daughter and a necklace for his second daughter. Then he set off for home. On the way home, snow began to fall. It covered the road and made it hard to see. The wind blew so hard it almost knocked the merchant off his horse. He was worried that he might get lost in the blizzard. The merchant decided that he should stop at the next house he came to and wait there until the storm passed. Eventually he came upon a large palace with lights blazing. He knocked, but no one answered. He found that the door was unlocked, so he opened it and peered in. "Hello," he called out, but there was no answer. He stepped into the foyer and brushed the snow off his coat. Curious yet hesitant, the merchant slowly made his way into the large dining room. To his surprise, a fire was burning in the fireplace, and a little table had been set with a sumptuous meal, just right for 1 person. "Hello," he called again. "Is anybody here?" Again there was no answer. The merchant inspected the food. "Is someone eating this food?" he asked. "Would you mind if I had a few bites? I've been riding in the bitter snowstorm and—" he continued. When there was no reply, the merchant decided that he would have a few bites of food and then look for his gracious host. After he had eaten, he set off to find the owner of the house to thank him. He wandered through the rooms on the ground floor, but neither master nor servant appeared. At last he stepped outside into a beautiful garden. The merchant was astonished to discover that the garden was in full bloom, even though it was the middle of winter, and most of the countryside was covered in a thick blanket of snow. In the garden birds chirped, flowers bloomed, the air was sweet and balmy. The man explored the garden until he came upon a row of beautiful rose bushes. He remembered that Beauty had asked him to bring her a rose. He reached out to pluck a rose, but just as the stem broke, he heard a loud roar behind him. "Who told you that you might gather the roses in my garden?" said a low, gruff voice. The startled merchant turned around and saw a fearsome creature who was half man and half beast. "What?" said the beast. "Is it not enough that I have given you dinner and a place to wait out the storm? You must also steal my roses?" "Please forgive me," said the merchant, falling to his knees. "I tried to find you to thank you for the meal. I will pay you for it if you like. As for the rose, I only wanted it for my youngest daughter, Beauty. Her only wish when I left her was that I return with a rose for her. Your gardens are so magnificent, and I did not think you would miss a single rose." "You are very ready with excuses and flattery," said the beast, "but that will not save you from the punishment you deserve." "Oh, forgive me," said the merchant. If not for my own sake, for the sake of my daughters. If I do not return home, there will be no one to support them." There was a long pause. Then the beast spoke again. "I will forgive you," he said, "on one condition. You must send one of your daughters to live with me. Go and see if any of them is brave enough and loves you enough to save you from a life in my castle. If one of them will come, you may send her in your place. Otherwise, you must come yourself and face your punishment." When the storm was over, the merchant returned home. He gave his daughter their presents: a gown for the eldest, a diamond necklace for the second, and a rose for Beauty. The older sisters were delighted, but Beauty could sense that something was wrong. "Father," she said, "why did you sigh so deeply when you gave me that rose?" "In a few days I will tell you," said the merchant. "But for now let's enjoy being together again." This ends Beauty and the Beast Part 1. Now complete your worksheet using complete sentences. If you need to, go back and re-listen to the story to help you answer the questions. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.